Council, members of the public can view this meeting live on Channel 8, the city's website and YouTube. Live Spanish translation services are being provided for tonight's council meeting by telephone. Please dial 720-386-9023 and use code 104091 *.
Se ofrecen servicios de interpretación en español para esta reunión del Consejo Municipal por teléfono. Marque el número 720-386-9023 y utilice el código 104091 #.
Thank you, sir. Call the meeting to order. Ask clerk to call the roll, and I am present.
Mayor Pro Tem Barry Huseman, Mayor Pro Tem Alan Thomas, Councilmember Madera, Councilmember Chacon,
Present.
Councilmember Noble,
Here.
Councilmember Hurst,
Present.
Councilmember Kim. Here. Councilmember Ford,
Present.
Councilmember Douglas.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking for a motion second to excuse the members not present. Councilmember Hurst.
So moved.
Have a motion to excuse the members not present. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ford?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to excuse the members not present. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Hurst?
Apologize for not
No
putting my hand
request for discussion. We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. This time, I'd like to invite the audience and those joining us remotely to join us in a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, any council members at this time wish to amend the agenda? Seeing no request to do so, I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Councilmember Hurst,
So moved.
Councilmember Kim,
Second.
I have a motion second to adopt the agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 7-0, 2 excused absences. Next up, we're going to move into public comment. All public comment except for those on public hearings will occur now. Persons registered to speak for multiple items may speak multiple times. Public comment cannot occur before the time stated in the agenda, which was 6 p.m., and it is after 6 p.m., so no action needs to be taken by the city council. Council members may address public comment during administrative business. We'll start with our virtual speakers. First up is Keegan Bells.
Mayor Huseman, it does not look like he is online.
All right. That was the end of our virtual speakers. Do we have any in-person speakers?
Yes, sir. The list just came to you.
Oh, okay. If you can just start off and just.
Anita Casillas.
Hello, I'm here to talk about Meritage Homes. Myself and my husband bought a house December 16th of 2022, and we are just having so much trouble with the warranty. I was promised when I bought the house that my warranty would be protected about structural issues that would or may arise after I moved in. The poor workmanship that I have to deal with has been a nightmare. Meritage assured me when I moved in they would be there to help fix issues that would arise. It has been almost a year. December 16th will be the end of my warranty. Since moving, I have tried to communicate the problems with Meritage, and they have ignored me. They have had numerous appointments with no shows for them for the warranty. I have taken off from work for appointments. They schedule and the repairs, and they never showed up. I have also texted them and emailed them to tell them that they have not showed up, and I don't get any replies. I have brought up issues with them for repairing, and they push off the responsibility of the city. For example, they repaired part of my driveway because it was sinking. They destroyed the sidewalk, and I asked them if they are going to repair the sidewalk that they damaged. I was told that the sidewalk belongs to the city, contact them for the repair. They even tell me where the driveway is peaking up 1.5 inches. They tell me that's fine, that's not a problem. It meets their spec. To me, that is a hazard. There is visible cracking, breaking, warping, or separation of materials in the house. The garage door was warped. I showed him, and I was told, what did I do to it? The framing of my house at the front door, the drain pan is not properly placed. So now the plate seal is starting to fall, and so is the siding on the bottom. It seems that they are delaying repairs and ignoring the homeowner's communication to fix big-ticket items solely for writing out the warranty so they don't have to live up to their contractual responsibilities. The issues that come to my mind right now, there are so many, but these are the most important to me. The front door drain pan, which I had just said, I was told that he already talked about it and he is not going to fix it. Down in the basement, the foundation where it meets the framing, on the inside, you could feel cold air blowing through it. We were told that's how they are. They're all like that. The window in the basement was not properly sealed and installed, so they did a Band-Aid and put foam and put 2x6s to frame it. The HVAC, I've been telling him it makes a loud noise when it runs, and my AC shuts off during the day. They still have not come to fix it or look at it. The inside of the garage seems to be dropping from sinkholes. I have next to both sides of the driveway where it's sunk, one side is 4 inches. And all they did was replace that one side of the driveway, but did not fix the sinkhole, so it's continuing to sink. As a homeowner, this has cost me to use my vacation days to sit at home and wait for them to show up and fix the issues, but they never show up even when they clearly schedule the time and day themselves. It has been extremely frustrating to me. It has cost me more than just money at this point. My peace of mind, my quality of life has been clearly affected in a negative way. I am my elderly mom's conservator. I bought this house thinking it would be bigger than my last one, so it could accommodate her with more room for a better quality of life. But now with all the building and structural issues, I feel that it is more of a dangerous home for her, and my peace of mind to keep her safe is gone. I feel that Meritage needs to step up and be responsible for the warranty and for the structural and everything that we deserve. As homeowners, we paid a lot of money for this house, and we're just getting ignored. And it is not only me. Most of my block, 80% of my block, they did not even say that they were going to sell it to a rental place. And these people will not even call the rental company about problems because they get charged $50 every phone call. So their housing development is starting to fall down. And we're stuck as homeowners. So please listen to what I have to say and help us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry to hear about the struggles that you're experiencing. Hopefully a member of staff can get your information and follow up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here this evening. Councilmember Noble?
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. Are you in South Buffalo Highlands? Where's your home?
92nd and Rifle, it's in Buffalo Highlands.
Okay.
It's, if I'm right, it's Phase 3.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up will be Joy Bishop.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Joy Bishop. I live at 5531 Niagara Street. One night last week, we were all awakened in the middle of the night. Our cell phones went off with an alert. And the alert that came on the screen told us to lock our doors and remain in place because there was police action in the neighborhood. We appreciate the alert. We thank the police department for letting us know that it wasn't safe to go outside. But then they left us all night not knowing what was going on, trying to go to sleep, waking up again at every little noise that happened. And the next morning, nobody knew whether it was safe for their kids to go outside, whether it was safe for them to go outside, because there was no follow-up to let us know that the situation was cleared. So it would be helpful, along with these alerts, if they came back on and said, all's clear, or something on your phone so that you could finally stop worrying and breathe easy and go back to sleep and actually sleep. So I'm wondering if there's some way to do a follow-up call on that would tell us that everything's okay. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. I believe Chief is coming over to speak with you right now. All right, next up will be Thelma Cole.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. I'm Thelma Cole, 5841 East 67th Place, Commerce City. I came to ask you guys, we put out this paper every month, the Commerce City on the Move, and it's got the schedule of what's going on the next month. For the last 4 months, it's been late, late, late. This month, we didn't get it out until the last day. On the 1st of December, we had Good Friends Holiday Shop, which was too late for this because the people hadn't got the thing. They didn't know it was going on. We done okay, but we could have done better. I would like to know why we don't have this by the 25th, because we have to put it together and get it in the mail. It would be nice to have it by the 25th so the people can get it, read it, and schedule with what their schedule is if there's something they would like to go see or do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe Parks and Rec is coming to speak with you. Members of the public were able to submit written comments online and by mail. Written comments were not received by the deadline. If follow-up is necessary, you should expect to be contacted by a staff member, which is currently ongoing. We're going to move on to presentations. I'll invite Dr. Rosemary Russo, Sustainability Manager, forward to give the presentation on the Oil and Gas Monthly Update.
Good evening. This should be quick tonight. I'll start off with Suncor. So in the last reporting period, oops, I jinxed myself. Yeah, this doesn't seem to be working. Okay. So Suncor had one exceedance. So the last reporting period, they claimed they had no exceedances. This last reporting period, October 15th to November 15th, they said there was one exceedance at the truck loading dock where the combustion levels went below what's required on a 6-hour basis. Then for oil and gas, switching gears, as you might recall, in the summer, the Local Government Coalition had submitted comments to the Public Utility Commission. The Public Utility Commission had an administrative law judge look at the recommendations, and on pipeline mapping, what we had requested was to make those maps publicly available and to make them at a scale that was more relevant for us to use for planning purposes. So the administrative law judge, Connor Farley, agreed that the information should be public, but added a caveat to the extent available. So the Local Government Coalition submitted a rebuttal statement just trying to separate the categories for active pipelines and inactive pipelines. And so it wouldn't be to the extent available, but that they should be required. So we were saying for active pipelines, really the information with the operator's name, the type of fluid, the pressure, how often they test the pressure, because basically when you test the pressure, if the pressure's lower, you know there's a leak, and so that's why that's so important. And then if they were gonna just abide by the to extent available, we wanted those categories to be for inactive pipelines. In terms of pipeline safety, again, we had asked for an annual report of all leaks. Previously, it was just leaks that resulted in a death. And on this issue, the law judge accepted our language verbatim, so that was a big win. It's important for us to have that information and make sure the operators follow up and remedy these kind of incidents. On advanced leak detection, the local government group was interested in the state instituting new, more stringent rules rather than waiting for the feds. So the federal government is also revising their rules, but the administrative law judge declined and said the preference is to wait for the federal rules to come out so they're consistent and it'd be less complicated for operators. So that's all I have for this evening. As always, I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Does anybody on council have any questions? Councilmember Kim?
Thank you, Dr. Russo. Can you go back to the Suncor slide again? I just want to read that over again. I know it's not in our packet.
Yeah, and I think in 2024, we're going to switch the date that I give these because Suncor releases them usually the day that of council, so my apologies.
Thank you for that. And I guess a question for Mr. Rogers. You know I'm going to ask you, so you might as well answer it. Where are we at with Suncor coming in front of council to discuss the issues and to figure out how can we move forward?
So thank you for that, sir, and good evening to the full council. We are actually going to be having a staff level meeting on Friday to discuss an opportunity of being able to have conversation with you in regards to the concerns that we are hearing from the community and other aspects that you all have raised over the past couple of years that we think is best to get back in front of you. So hopefully we'll have some more information or direction as to how those things are moving forward after Friday's conversation.
And will you be able to come back to us on that Monday to let us know as far as what the outcome of that Friday meeting was?
I'll be able to share with you where we stand. I don't know if there'll be anything solid at that time, but at least we can give an update.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
You're welcome, sir.
Councilmember Douglas?
Thank you, Mayor Huseman. And thank you, Dr. Russo, for being here again on a Monday night and presenting this information. I had calls from some constituents who live over in that neighborhood, and I guess there was like super flaring or something for a couple of days where they said it was just really bad.
So they put out a notice about excessive flaring, and that was the extent of the information. And so I followed up with the state. The state didn't have any additional information. They didn't say what the cause
So they
of
just called it excessive
flaring.
flaring.
Yeah.
Well, people were really scared, and they also said it was affecting their breathing and how they were feeling. So I was very curious about that.
I did take some photos.
Oh, really? So they didn't say why, or that was it. I also am very curious about that flare. The main flare is going off constantly. It never shuts off. And I thought that's just the way it was supposed to be, but I have a scientist friend who's retired from the EPA who said it's supposed to just be intermittent, and it's only supposed to be going off like maybe a couple times a day. And he had actually talked to me about it because he came over here just to check things out and take a look around. And in fact, he's been over here a couple of times looking, and he said, "Is that going all the time?" And I said, "Yeah, isn't it supposed to?" And he said that no, it absolutely is not supposed to, and that it should only be going off maybe a couple times a day at the most. Ever since I've lived here, I've always noticed that it's flaring. So I was wondering if we could do any kind of investigation on that and find out what's going on with it and why it is going off 24/7. And
Yeah, we could look at the permit limits. They have limits for like 3 hours and 6 hours and 12 hours and a 24-hour rolling basis. So that would indicate that having it flaring all the time is within their permit limits. But I'll check.
Really?
Yeah.
very, very interesting. Well, I will talk to him about it again and let him know that it's on our radar. And I think it's something that should be looked into. So, and that's all. Oh, I was going to, you mentioned that there was loss of life on.
No. In the past, the only time an operator
okay.
would have to report a leak to the local government is if a death occurred
Okay.
because of that
All right.
leak. And that's what we made that more,
Yeah.
we suggested it be more stringent, and now it is.
Thank you for clarifying. It just caught my attention, and I thought I'd ask. All right, thank you so much for presenting again.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Noble?
Following up on Councilmember Kim's comments, I think the important part of having Suncor come and speak to us is that the new vice president could explain why things are going so much better now that he's in charge. So if they can have no exceedances 1 month, one exceedance the following month, he must be doing something that the previous vice president or regional manager wasn't doing. And I would be really interested in finding out what that might be. I would also like to be able to find out what they might have done to regarding maintenance and other improvements. They do have, as we read last week, 200,000 flanges and valves at the refineries that would theoretically need to be examined and inspected on a regular basis, and lo and behold, they don't exactly do that. So that would be important to learn about as well, because as I say, something must be going well. We certainly had worse problems previously. As for the National Pipeline Management System, there is an app that you can download to your phone, and everybody can see where pipelines are, not the ones that go directly to your home, but you can see the pipelines that are the big connectors. They also show the spills. the type of liquid, gas transmission, hazardous liquid pipelines. It's called the NPMS Mobile Public Viewer, and I do look at that, and I do look at spills that have occurred, because we don't always get a report of the spill, and in fact, they do occur, such as at the Magellan DuPont pipeline by DuPont Elementary. There were several spills there, for example. That's not in Commerce City exactly. It's unincorporated Adams County, but nevertheless, it does affect us. So it's something for us to be mindful of, and people can follow that themselves.
Yeah, maybe we could get that up on the website, that app.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you. And again, I look forward to Sencor's appearance, and I'm so glad that Councilmember Kim keeps urging that to take place. They came to visit us, I think, when? In 2020, 2 or 3 times they came to see us in 2020 before we started doing monthly reports. And then they stopped after that. And I think they stopped after we sent out a notice regarding litigation as well. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome, and happy holidays.
Thank
since
you,
I won't
too.
see you again.
We're going to move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes items that are routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, and non-controversial. These items are presented to council for a single motion and vote. Any member of council may ask to remove a specific item off the consent agenda for further discussion and a separate vote. Does anybody on council wish to remove any items off the consent agenda this evening? Seeing no request to do so, I'm looking for a motion and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Councilmember Hurst.
So moved.
Councilmember Kim.
Second.
Have a motion second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Will the clerk please read the title and take a roll call vote?
Minutes of the November 13th, 2023 meeting. Minutes of the November 27th, 2023 special meeting. Ordinance 2548, an ordinance vacating a portion of East 83rd Avenue right-of-way generally located south of the 8003 East 83rd Avenue, north of 8000 East 83rd Avenue, and west of vacated Ulster Street, Commerce City, Colorado. Ordinance 2553, an ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 1 of the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code and adopting the 2020 Colorado Model Traffic Code as revised. Resolution 2023-125, a resolution authorizing execution of the intergovernmental agreement by and between the City of Commerce City and Colorado Department of Transportation regarding funding to upgrade the detection systems and provide dilemma zone and red protection at 12 signalized intersections. Resolution 2023-135, a resolution authorizing award of a contract for the purchase and installation of advanced public safety technology to Flock Group Incorporated. And Resolution 2023-139, a resolution appointing Kendra L. Carberry as Career Service Hearing Officer for the City of Commerce City and Kathy B. Guckenberger as alternate Career Service Hearing Officer. Your vote is open.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0, 2 excused absences. All right, let's move on to administrative business. Does anybody on council have an administrative business item of an emergency or unforeseen circumstance? Councilmember Noble?
I want to take this opportunity to talk about the speaker regarding her home. And we have certainly had a lot of problems with home builders. Have we had more problems in your experience in other communities? Mr. Rogers?
Thank you, ma'am. Great question. I would say it depends on the availability of qualified workers, the amount of growth that a general area, a general region may be experiencing, because most projects are leveraging from one development to the next within a home builder. So I would say it's really depending upon really the growth and development that not just one city is experiencing, but the larger region as a whole. In my experience, though, firsthand, I've not. I will say I've seen the issues with respect to warranty. This kind of falling in the middle of the level of severity from bad to or lack of response to highly responsive. And the thing that we are trying to coordinate and work through, given the level of severity of the responsiveness of the warranty departments at the various production home builders, is to get in front of them to have a conversation about encouraging better practices in more construction management by the supers on the site to ensure that that product is being delivered. Obviously, as we've talked internally, you all have heard us say publicly, we are somewhat limited in our authority if it doesn't fall outside of the Land Development Code, but really the International Residential Code. So we are devising a plan to be able to provide a level of education courses both for the residential population that we have here, but those who are also wanting to move. What are some of the tips, the things that we can assist if there are issues, where best to redirect them, as well as trying to hold more regular summits with all of the production home builders. We do engage with the production home builders on an individual basis, no different if when we were hearing the concerns last week with Richmond American, we will engage with them, we will engage with Meritage, we will engage with all. But we are trying to stay in front of this as best as we possibly can with the authority that we have, and know that we're monitoring what's happening here, which is also happening in other municipalities through the Front Range when I talk and listen to my counterparts. So we're all kind of feeling this stress with respect to the warranty and the response of the matters that our residents are coming forward with. So trying to think creatively on how to address that.
One idea I have is that we don't approve their next building project until they take care of their last building project.
Councilmember Noble, if I may, obviously, depending on the context, if it's a quasi-judicial hearing, council as the neutral fact finder would have to rely on the specific criteria, and if that were not part of the criteria, then it wouldn't be relevant per se.
I think that's criteria G. That has to do with safety and health and so forth, doesn't it?
Well, it would depend on the particular application at issue. So if we're talking about building permits, those specifically don't come before council.
Well, I'm looking for I'm actually looking for an answer to leverage our whatever authority we might have so that this can stop. These folks live in my ward in South Buffalo Highlands. North Buffalo Highlands has had a huge amount of problems because of paired homes. There are also problems in North Second Creek Farms. If we're not responsible for it and the builder isn't responsible for it, then I have a bunch of constituents who are getting stuck with problems. Somebody needs to answer for it, and I really hope that we can figure out a way to solve this problem. It's very distressing to me, and I know that some of it, I've been around enough of these homes now that I have become one of these dangerous amateurs, because we're having a lot of settling problems. So that has to do with, erosion and the soils engineer and so on and so forth. And these folks who just spoke talked about that. And I know that that has been occurring in other places. So what I'm really looking for is a solution. I'm glad, Mr. Rogers, that you are taking these steps with them. It's a shame that it seems to me that we need to actually educate the builders on what we consider to be good building practices on behalf of our of our homeowners. But if that's a starting point, then that's a good place to start. But I hope that we can look at some other more stringent requirements that make them know that we mean business about the quality of our homes. A quality community for a lifetime applies to everything, and certainly the quality of homes should be an expectation. Thank you.
Does anybody else on council have any administrative business items? Councilmember Douglas.
Thank you. Yes, I'd just like to piggyback on Councilmember Noble's thoughts on this. Don't we have inspectors that come from the city to check on the building projects as they go along? I know some of the first projects that were delivered many years ago, there were like missing firewalls in townhomes and a myriad of issues. And it just doesn't seem right that this should continue on, and it's still happening. We should want to deliver quality homes to our residents who choose to live here and become community members. And so I would think that that would be part of our responsibility as the city itself. So I would really like to make sure that these issues are not only addressed going forward, but to help those people who I hear from on a consistent basis of all the different problems that they've had. Continuous running sump pumps, water in the basement, brand new houses. We've got to do better. And so that means that if we want to maintain good community members who have longevity here and are making contributions to the community, then we should be taking care of them one way or another. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If I may, to your first question, we do have inspectors, and they do perform a variety of inspections that are from electrical, foundation, plumbing, at various stages of the constructability of the home. The difficulty that we are limited to is the scope of those responsibilities that are identified within the International Residential Code. And the International Residential Code, in which is adopted, adopts the minimum floor in which we are to apply. And the standards, now you can adopt much more restrictive standards within the International Residential Code. However, the things that we're hearing about, door jambs not lining up, floors being improperly installed, bowing of floors, drafty windows, spackling over vents that need to be cleaned. Those are things outside of our purview as a municipality. Things that come to foundation permits because they submit a foundation permit, and then we inspect to determine whether or not they have met the compliance with the permit that they had requested for that home, well within our ability. But the things that we're hearing tonight, and just to, for the transparency of our residents, those are things that are outside of any codes that we have the ability to enforce. Even if we were to adopt the most restrictive standard of the IRC, and I would have to rely on my chief building official to outline what those could possibly be, still will not get down to the craftsmanship that is being discussed tonight. And that's where we have to get creative in our proactive engagement, conversations, encouragement, and thinking about programs that can aid both the home buyer and the home builder so that we can try to mitigate this as best as we possibly can.
Councilmember Noble.
Sorry, I just wanted to follow up. I actually heard the residents speak to uplifting concrete as well as floor dropping 4 inches in the garage. So I think those are foundation, and I think they have to do with settlement or something that's happening in the soil. So wasn't just cosmetic. I did not hear her say that it was just cosmetic. So I do hope that we can really pursue this in the next few months and find solutions. Thank you very much.
Any other administrative business items? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports. Mr. Rogers?
Thank you, sir. I'd like to start off with community development. Offer was made and accepted for a new community development director as of last week. Mr. Jared Gerber will be joining the city, coming to us from Sandy, Utah, city of about 95,000 people located on the northeast border of Salt Lake City. He's occupied various roles from planning director to deputy chief administrative officer. Think of that as your city manager's office here. For his time during Sandy, Utah, he is starting the process of relocation. So his initial start date will be January 8th of next year. So thank you and welcome, Jared. In economic development, I'd like to give a little plug and shout out to Iron Buffalo, formerly known as G-Co Truck Repair, which has relocated its operations to Commerce City at 5590 East 55th Avenue in a fully renovated 28,000 square foot truck maintenance facility right along I-270. Iron Buffalo is the largest independent, family and female-owned semi-truck repair business in the state of Colorado. They have over 50 employees and are excited to grow their company in Commerce City. So thank you and welcome, Iron Buffalo. In Public Works, I'm also happy to announce that the city has hired Larius Hassan as our new Director of Public Works. He is currently the Deputy Assistant Director of Public Works for the City of Houston, which is a department of nearly 3,900 employees and a population of 2.28 million. Larius will join the city next Monday for his first day. So super excited to have Larius join us as well. Over the weekend, we had the Run with the Buffalo Ugly Sweater Fun Run. We had total of 82 participants join us in that 2.5 mile course, taking on the place of the Back Nine Cart Path. From all that I heard, that it was a well-attended event and people enjoyed, even though the weather may have been a little nippy. Coming up, we have Dress in Your Pajamas and Bring Your Family to come have some cereal and meet Santa at Bison Ridge on Saturday, December 16th from 9 a.m. to noon. And that event obviously will include cereal with a visit from Santa and crafts for the entire family. NPD has officially signed with CALEA as an agency pursuing accreditation. Nationwide, approximately 5% of law enforcement agencies are accredited through CALEA, though approximately 25 of the nation's law enforcement officers work for a CALEA accredited organization. So that accreditation will help for recruitment, retention, and attractability not only within Colorado, but also outside of the state as we continue to grow. The process officially begins a multi-year process that will ultimately ensure our ability and the organization utilizing the best and leading practices when it comes to PD. CCPD is also participating with the Adams County Sheriff's Office as well as other Adams County law enforcement agencies December 10th through the 17th to give away free gun locks. Gun locks can be attained at any police department in Adams County as well as the Sheriff's Department and related offices. On 12/14, CCPD will be partnering with Adams County First Responders as well as the Colorado Office of Emergency Management, FBI, and 8th Weapons of Mass Destruction Civil Support Team in a training exercise scenario at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in preparation for disaster and other matters. This Friday, we will have 10 cadets graduating from the police academy. They will return to CCPD for some additional in-house training and prior to entering the FTO program for several months before they become solo patrol officers. And then we have our quarterly South Area Commanders meeting, and that will be held this Thursday at 6 p.m. at Eagle Point. Wednesday, we have our holiday tree lighting. We have horse-drawn carriages. We have Santa. We have music, sweet treats, family fun activities. But most of all, we have reindeers. So come, join, be merry, be happy, ride some reindeers. Heard Rudolph's going to make an appearance as well, maybe. Other than that, back to city manager's office. Wanted to make you all aware, as you know, we have started to improve our traffic operations center. There was equipment that was necessary both within the center but also in the field. We are going to be leveraging $190,000 from the loss contingency fund to move forward with these improvements. The equipment is on hand and is beginning the installation process so that we can have a more effective TOC for our traffic division. So thank you for the team for knuckling down and being able to find a way to move that forward for the betterment of the community, but also for our staff. I had the pleasure of being able to attend a meeting at DRCOG and participated in a rather robust discussion with the governor's office. As you all are aware, 213, the housing proposal that was brought forward by the governor's office last year failed. The governor is taking a different route to strategic growth in housing in Colorado and is proposing a new program that is not focused on preemption, but more on incentivization, and is conceptually looking at establishing a program of $136.7 million to leverage tax credits and existing funding to increase the housing supply and to deliver more housing throughout the state. The dollars are broken out through a number of different applications, technical assistance, focusing on creating transit-oriented developments, where you have a densification in key areas along roadways that meet certain criteria, and also looking at improving the housing supply through allowance of accessory dwelling units that could be attached, detached, above a garage, in your basement, in your attic, however that may seem. The one thing that we discussed with them, given that they came to us much earlier than last year, the last conversation we had with them was in March. They're coming to us now at the time, which was in November. But I asked the question, would they be willing to come and speak with our council? And the governor's staff said, yes, we would be more than willing to come and potentially even bring the governor. So I'm going to hold that to them and bring them forward to you all in the new year so that you can have a more robust conversation, no differently than we did at the staff level, to understand what they would like to propose and to share feedback about some of the, I will call adaptive challenges that we have and or concerns. So I will make sure to keep you all abreast when that will be coming forward. But I think it's such an important discussion that you need to be able to have that openly with the governor's office, since this is something they will be moving forward in this upcoming legislature. They also discussed a couple of items, a regional housing needs assessment and a comprehensive economic development strategy update. Those are two items in which the DRCOG are moving forward in order to be able to increase access to federal funding, particularly with economic development. That will actually provide additional funding from different federal departments, agencies, that will allow for us and other municipalities, because those are being targeted towards those that are disproportionately impacted and or of low income. So it's an opportunity for us to remain engaged, and we anticipate that those efforts will be moving forward at the end of this month and or into Q1, early Q1, January, February timeframe for the comprehensive economic development strategy update. There was also a brief update on PCAP about the priority climate action plan, where they stand and how things will become accessible within the March timeframe for us to be able to fund or request grant funds coming from the EPA's release of those that $5 billion. We are continuing to support DRCOG because they are the lead agency that was to initiate this across the region, and coordinate with them on best how to apply for those grants as we continue to get more information from the EPA and from Dr. Cog on governance. And last but not least, I will be taking this Thursday, December 7th and December 8th off, at which time Kathy will be the acting city manager. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, sir. Does anybody on council have any questions for Mr. Rogers concerning his report? Seeing none, we'll move on to interim city attorney Geiger.
I don't have anything exciting for you all this evening. Thank you.
Does anybody on council have any questions for the interim city attorney concerning her lack of a report? Seeing none, any council members wish to make a report? Seeing none, we will move on to our executive sessions. Tonight, we have 2 executive sessions. I'll ask for a motion and vote on each separately. First, I'm looking for a motion second to enter executive session of the city council pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, sub parentheses B, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel to receive legal advice with regard to litigation, specifically the matter of Quentin Nichols versus the city of Commerce City, currently pending in the Adams County District Court, and to the extent necessary, also pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, sub parentheses E and I, for the purpose of instructing negotiators with regard to the same. Formal action by the city council following the executive session is anticipated and will occur in open session. Councilmember Noble?
So moved.
Councilmember Kim? Second. Have a motion second to enter executive session for the reasons stated. Is there any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-1. Next up, looking for a motion second to enter executive session of the city council pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4, sub parentheses F and G, for the purpose of discussing personal matters specifically related to recruitment and upcoming interviews for the appointment of a city attorney, and discussing applications and materials related to candidates for the position of city attorney, which are documents protected by the mandatory non-disclosure provision of the Colorado Open Records Act. Councilmember Noble.
So moved.
Councilmember Hurst.
Second.
I have a motion second to enter executive session for the purpose stated. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Noble?
No, thank you.
Seeing no request for discussion, do a voice vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 6-1. We're now going to go into executive session. Council will return from executive session to potentially take action. The meeting broadcast and recording will remain up. The executive sessions are estimated to last approximately 1.5 hours. See you then.
Do you have the motion?
I don't have it. You have it?
All right, City Council is out of executive session. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to waive the city's claims made in the civil case 2022 CV 31682, Quentin Nichols versus the City of Commerce City, and to authorize the city manager to enter into a settlement agreement with the plaintiff, both contingent upon the successful conclusion of negotiations by the city's legal representation. Councilmember Hurst?
So moved.
Councilmember Kim? Second. I have a motion second to waive the claims and to enter into settlement negotiations. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Hurst?
Apologize for leaving my hand up.
All right, seeing no requests for discussion, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion is going to carry 5-1, 2 excused absences and 1 abstention. Oh, the gentleman walking in right now. And I'm the no. Okay. All right, looking for a motion, second to adjourn the meeting. Councilmember Hurst.
So moved.
Councilmember Kim. Second. Have a motion, second to adjourn the meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, do a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 7-0, 2 excused absences. We are adjourned. This time, I will call the NIGID meeting to order and ask the Secretary to call the roll. Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Alan Thomas.
Chair.
Chair. Chair Madera.
Nope, another commissioner.
Commissioner Madera. Commissioner Chacon.
Present.
Commissioner Noble.
Present.
Commissioner Hurst.
Present.
Commissioner Kim. Here. Commissioner Ford.
Present.
Commissioner Douglas.
Present.
Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you, and I'm looking for a motion, second to excuse the members not present. Commissioner Hurst.
So moved.
Commissioner Ford. I have a motion, second to excuse the members not present. Is there any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, do a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, we're going to address ordinances on second reading. Ordinance NIGID 193, ratification of an ordinance on second reading. Looking for a motion, second to ratify this ordinance on second and final reading. Commissioner Hurst.
So moved.
Commissioner Kim. Second. I have a motion, second to ratify ordinance NIGID 193 on second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Your vote is open.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0, 2 excused absence. That concludes all the business we have for this evening. We are adjourned.
I know.